walked into the night shift glow, neon humming soft and slow, the city breathing tired dreams beneath the winter's quiet snow. My coat was soaked from evening rain, my mind too full to stay alone. So I wandered toward the only place that ever felt like home.
The door chimed low behind me, the warmth brushed on my skin, and there you sat in that corner booth with your half-forgotten grin.
Your eyes caught mine like magnets, pulling gently through the haze, and something deep inside me stirred a soft echo from old days.
You said a rough night in that calm low voice,
and I nodded without thinking,
like my heart had no choice.
I slid across from you slowly, letting breath unwind and fall, and the room seemed to shrink around us, barely leaving space at all.
You look like someone carrying stories heavy on your chest,
like someone who's been moving fast but never finding rest. Your hair was damp from the weather, your voice a gravel tone, yet something sweet in your presence felt like a place I once had known.
You took your glass with careful hands, took a slow unhurried sip,
as if you needed warm light more than anything you could grip. I wanted to ask what hurt you, what chased you through the cold, but the look you gave told everything the words refused to hold.
So instead I said,
stay a while, the night's too long to waste.
and your weary smile answered like a memory gently traced.
There was a rhythm in your breath, a melody in your sigh, and I wondered how a stranger could feel like a reason to try. The lights flickered golden honey, pouring gently through the air, and in that little moment we forgot the weight we wear. Two voices barely whispering, but somehow sounding whole. Two hearts that came in tired, but left with softer souls. Music played in shadows, notes drifting slow and light, and suddenly we weren't lonely, not in that room tonight. You asked me why I wandered in, I said I lost my way again, said winter kept on pulling at the corners of my skin. You nodded like you'd lived it, like you'd known the ache I meant, and for the first time in a long time all my tiredness felt spent.
I told you I'd been trying to stay steady through the storm,
but every plan I made fell apart before it formed.
you didn't interrupt me,
didn't try to drag me through. You just watched like you were seeing all the things I never knew. And in your silent listening, something inside me broke, not in a way of hurting, but in a way that woke. I told you I'd been drifting, working nights to stay afloat, said I lost too many summers, trying hard not to lose hope. You leaned your chin into your palm, eyes shining amber bright, and suddenly my weary world felt easier tonight.
I said I'm not good with feelings, not great at letting go,
but something in your presence made the truth begin to show.
you laughed that low warm gravel laugh, soft sorrow in the sound,
and I knew that in that evening some connection had been found. talked until the coffee cooled, until the neon dimmed, until the tired city felt like it forgave our sins. We traded broken secrets, shared pieces of our years, let our burdens loosen into smoky chandelier tears. Maybe life is built of nights we never planned to keep, moments stitched in amber light, echoes soft and deep. You brush my hand with yours like a question barely asked, and something in the simple touch pulled down the walls I'd mask. My voice grew rough and trembling, but steadier than before, because standing in your presence made me wanna feel once more. Your warmth traveled through my fingers like music floating slow, and for the first time in a long time I let myself let go.
The bartender wiped the counter, signaling the night would end. And you looked at me like wondering if I'd wanna be your friend. But the way your breath grew softer, where your shoulders finally eased, told me this was something deeper, something neither could have teased. I reached for my warm jacket, you reached for yours in time. Two silhouettes aligning in a quiet, patient rhyme. We stepped out into the night shift breeze, felt winter tug and fold, but this time we weren't lonely, not in the biting cold. Your hand found mine in silence, your voice stayed low and bright, and honey-coated street lamps poured gold across the night. Maybe the world won't change for us, but something small had stirred, a vintage kind of comfort, an heavy whispered word. And as we walked together through the wind's fading night, I held on to the softness, your presence in the night. I pushed the cafe door open, letting snow drift off my sleeve, and the smell of roasted coffee wrapped around me like a reprieve. The windows glowed with winter light, soft gold against the white, and there you sat beside the counter, looking gentle in the night. Your cheeks were flushed from icy winds, your scarf loose at your chin, and when you lifted up your eyes to me, the room began to spin. I felt something warm and fluttering, something soft I couldn't hide, like winter paused its breathing just to push me to your side. You shook the snow off carefully, with laughter in your tone, and somehow just your presence made the cafe feel like home. I'd been watching snow collect outside in heaps along the street, waiting for the world to soften in its slow and steady beat.
When you walked in with that deep voice humming low beneath your breath, I felt a spark so sudden that it scared me half to death. You asked if you could sit with me, not eager, just sincere, and something in your warmth pulled my lonely winter near. The cups clanked on the table, steam curling in the air, and winter felt less heavy just because you were there. Soft music played behind us, vintage notes in steady flow, and in that little cafe love grew gently with the snow. Our voices found a rhythm like a mellow winter tune, close to mine, and suddenly the whole cafe felt dipped in sparkling shine.
The snow kept falling steadily, but something in me rose, a feeling soft and earnest that the winter rarely showed.
I said the season scared me, all its stillness and its cold, but with you sitting there smiling, it felt different than before.
Your voice so deep and calming made my heart beat slow its pace, and the dim cafe light painted gentle shadows on your face.
I told you how I love the sound of snow against the glass, the way it softened every noise, made rushing moments pass. You listened with an openness that wrapped around my fear, and little by little love began to draw me near.
So we stayed until the closing, when the lights were turning low,
watching winter's gentle rhythm leave its spark upon the snow.
every word felt like a candle, every smile a warmer hue, and the world outside grew brighter
Every time I looked at you. Maybe love begins in moments,
simple, quiet, soft and true.
maybe winter's sweetest magic is the warmth we fall into.
We stepped outside together, breath rising in the cold, and your hand found mine so softly I forgot the stories told of winters feeling lonely, or nights that felt too long,
Because walking home beside you
turned the season into song.
Snow kept falling gently as the city glowed below. Two warm cups and beating hearts in the hush of falling snow. I walk beneath the neon rain, the colors dripping slow and cold, the city humming gentle secrets only nighttime ever told. A quiet rhythm filled the street, just steady enough to sway, and every puddle held a memory I'd forgotten on the way.
Then I saw you through the window of a small cafe's warm light, your silhouette against the glow, soft as a song in fading night.
Your eyes lifted when I entered, tracing me with quiet grace, and something warm began to gather in the stillness of that space.
Your voice came low and husky when you softly said my name, and in that single moment all the coldness lost its claim.
You took the seat across from me with footsteps slow and sure, your presence holding steady like a warmth I could endure. I'd been sitting there in silence, letting neon paint my mind, trying hard to leave behind the things I never seemed to find.
But when you asked me how I'd been, with that deep and rumbling tone, the ache inside me loosened as if I wasn't quite alone.
I smiled a little awkwardly, but you didn't look away. You just breathed like you were willing to stay with me tonight and stay. Our voices fell in rhythm like a soft and steady drum, not too quick and not too heavy, just enough to make us hum. The world outside kept glowing with its neon shaded hue, and somehow in that moment I felt closer next to you, not racing into something, not drifting out of sight. Just two hearts moving through the softness of the night.
I told you I've been wondering, letting days blur into one, struggling with the feeling that my life had come undone.
You listened with a patience I had rarely felt before, like you held the weight beside me, never asking me for more.
Your eyes reflected comfort with a sweetness calm and low,
And little things I buried started rising in their glow.
the rhythm in your breathing matched the tempo of the rain, and for the first time in a while the world felt gentle again.
I set out every year, a season full of fear and strain. Felt like every time I healed a little, life would start again with pain. But you didn't rush to answer, didn't tell me what to feel. You just nodded with a softness that made every moment real.
Your presence felt like safety, like a warmth that didn't fade, like music that's familiar even when it's newly played.
I breathed out all my trembling as your gaze held steady tight, and found myself unfolding in the quiet of that night. So we walked out from the cafe with the rain still falling slow, soft reflections on the pavement, quiet places we could go. There was laughter in our footsteps, there was comfort in our pace, and the air between our shoulders felt like someone's gentle grace.
Not too fast and not too timid, just the middle where hearts heal,
Where a stranger feels familiar and the night becomes more real. We paused beneath the doorway where the neon washed our skin, and something like a promise fluttered softly deep within.
Your hand brushed mine in silence, warm and steady, not too bold. And in the pulse between us, something quiet took its hold.
Maybe we're still learning, maybe life has more to show, but tonight we took soft footsteps through the gentle neon glow, and in the mid-tempo rhythm found a warmth we didn't know. I caught the rhythm of the streetlights as they flickered into gold, snowflakes falling quick and playful in the early winter cold. My hands were frozen stiff, but my heart felt strangely free, as if the night had something waiting round the corner just for me. I walked along the sidewalk humming notes I barely knew, something bright inside me rising like a melody breaking through.
Then I saw you by the crosswalk, laughing into your scarf with grace, and the whole street felt electric when you turned and met my face.
Your breath formed tiny clouds, dancing fast into the air, and I found myself already smiling before I even got there. You came walking with that confident, low voice, rumbling tone, like someone who could turn a quiet night into a world of their own.
I'd been pacing with quick footsteps just to warm my chilly hands, but
the second that you called my name, my pulse picked up its plans. You asked what brought me out so late with a grin I couldn't hide. And something in your playful energy lit sparks I kept inside.
The music from a nearby bar spilled lively down the street, and for a moment I forgot the cold and felt my heartbeat skip its beat.
There was laughter in our footfalls,
Rhythm shining through the night, and something in your presence made the city feel so light. We walked with faster footsteps, matching beats beneath the signs,
our shadows bouncing happily
across the sidewalk line.
The world felt less like winter,
more like something warm and new,
and every little moment pulled me closer next to you.
The tempo in our voices matched the lights that flashed above, and suddenly the evening felt like something built from love.
In the snowfall, laughing hard into the breeze, and I swear I felt the universe ease down onto its knees.
I told you how your energy felt brighter than the day, how even with the cold around you made warmth stay.
You nudged my shoulder lightly, teasing me with half a smile, and the playfulness between us grew with every snowy mile.
I wasn't used to moments that move quickly like a spark, but with you beside me glowing, there was no room left for dark. Ooh, you spoke with that deep rumble, low and rich like vintage wine, and I found myself replying in a rhythm just as fine.
Your confidence was gentle, not too heavy, not too strong, just the perfect kind of presence when the night was carrying song.
I said I love the music coming faintly from the bar, and you said nothing beats good company beneath the evening star.
My laugh came rough and husky as I brushed my hair aside, and I felt the warmth inside me grow with every step you'd stride.
So we kept on walking quickly, letting joy let every beat, feeling something bright and hopeful blossom softly on the street. Maybe life can be surprising when the pace begins to rise, when a stranger feels familiar in the spark behind their eyes.
We weren't thinking about tomorrow,
we weren't chasing any plan,
just two voices blending lightly in the rhythm where we ran.
When we reached the final corner, where our paths would split in two, you caught my hand in silence, like you weren't ready to undo the magic of our footsteps and the glimmer of the night, the way the city sang for us in warm and sparkling light. You whispered soft and breathless, let's do this again, alright. And in that simple promise, the whole world felt bright.
I stepped into the quiet glow, the city humming soft outside, winter shaking on my shoulders like a weight I couldn't hide. Inside the bar, the amber lights curled gently through the room, and there you were, half in shadow, breathing slowly through the gloom.
Your eyes met mine like a whisper, like a wound that wanted air, and something deep within me shifted, recognizing something there.
Didn't mean to walk to you, didn't mean to pull a chair, but
The silence felt like gravity, pulling gently through your stare.
You looked up with tired softness, voice worn yet warm and low. And in that fragile moment I felt something start to grow.
Your voice was thick like velvet, dipped in midnight's gentle tone, a sound that made my restless fear feel suddenly less alone.
I'd been sitting there in silence, letting hours fade away, hoping someone might remind me
it was safe to feel today.
You asked if you could join me,
Not demanding, just sincere.
and something in your presence calmed the ache I carried near.
I nodded slow, surprised by how your gaze could make me breathe, like
All the weight I'd carried had begun to slowly leave. The music swayed around us,
vintage notes and muted light,
and somehow to one stranger
felt a little less like night.
we talked in quiet circles,
Shared fears without a name,
found comfort in the simple fact I heard and felt the same.
You touched your cup with trembling hands, took a breath too slow to keep, and told me life had drained you, left you fighting just to sleep.
I listened like a promise, let my voice grow low and true, and told you I've been drowning too, unsure of what to do.
Your eyes softened in the shadows, the light reflecting pain, yet somehow in their honesty I felt less afraid again. I said I wasn't strong today,
Said winter made me fold,
said every plan I touched grew heavy, tired and cold.
you didn't try to fix me,
Didn't push my fear aside.
you just breathed with quiet patience like a warm and steady tide. And in that simple kindness
I felt something shift within,
a tiny fragile opening
where healing could begin. So we lingered in the amber, let the
seconds drift in peace, found a softer kind of comfort where our restless thoughts could cease. Maybe love,
isn't loud, maybe hope is small and new.
maybe nights like this remind us
What a gentle heart can do. When the bar began to close and the night grew colder still, you reached for me in silence, with a touch so soft and real. We stepped into the darkness, two shadows side by side, and though tomorrow stayed uncertain, tonight we didn't hide. In the amber echoes glowing on the quiet winter street, our lonely hearts found something, a place they dared to meet.
Snow trace patterns on my jacket as I stepped inside the door.
And a soft jazz chord progression filled the cafe's wooden floor.
The pianist tapped a gentle rhythm, warm like melting candlelight.
And there you were beside the window, glowing softly with the night.
Your scarf lay loose around your shoulders.
Your breath a gentle cloud, and the quiet sway of music wrapped around us like a shroud.
I felt the winter loosen, felt my heartbeat settle slow.
As if the jazz inside the cafe knew exactly where to go. You lifted up your eyes to me, a spark beneath their shine. And suddenly the cold felt distant, like the world was redesigned. Your footsteps matched the rhythm of the brushes on the snare.
And the way you smiled toward me warmed the still December air.
I'd been sitting with my latte, watching snow collect outside,
letting saxophone reflections calm the worries I denied.
But when you said a simple hey in that deep and rumbling tone, the room seemed to expand around us as if we were alone.
The jazz moved like a heartbeat, soft swing beneath the glow.
And every subtle cymbal hit made my chest feel newly slow. Steam curled above our coffee, mixing softly with the tune.
And winter's quiet rhythm kept us swaying through the room.
The upright bass was humming, painting warmth in every line. And in that golden lightning, your heartbeat echoed mine. Snow kept drifting gently down the windowsill outside, and the world felt slightly brighter with you sitting at my side. I told you how I love the sound of soft jazz on a night like this.
How the chords could make the darkness feel like something hard to miss.
You leaned in close to listen, eyes half lidded in the light.
And the glow around your laughter made the room feel extra bright.
Your fingers tapped against the table in a tiny jazz time beat, and something warm and hopeful swept me up along my seat.
I never knew that winter could feel tender, sweet and kind.
But sitting there beside you kept that truth within my mind. I said I'd always dreamed of nights where snow and music blend,
where the quiet hum of feelings moves from stranger into friend.
Your voice was like a saxophone, low, imperfect, deeply real. And every word you offered held a softness I could feel. The cafe lights grew dimmer as the evening slowly passed, and the jazz notes shimmered gently like a memory meant to last.
I felt my worries melting like the frost upon the glass,
And found my heart unfolding in a way I hoped would last. So we lingered near the window, watching winter center drift and glow, letting soft swing guide our breathing in a tender, steady flow.
Maybe love begins in rhythms played in quiet winter nights,
woven through the falling snow and gentle yellow lights. The music wrapped around us like a promise, calm and true. Every beat a little closer, every moment drawn to you. And the barista dimmed the lamps and the night prepared to end.
You caught my hand in silence, like you didn't want to pretend
that the magic wasn't real here. In the warmth of fate, you'll hear where jazz and falling snowflakes sparked a sweet December night.
We stepped outside together,
and the cold wind didn't sting, because your arm brushed close to mine, and I felt everything. The cafe windows glowing, the music soft and low, and love walked out beside us in the hush of winter snow.
I walked into the quiet cafe, midnight humming through the door. The lights were low and the room was warm, like a memory I lost before.
The steam rose from my coffee cup, tracing ghosts into the air. And then your shadow fell across the table, soft steps, gentle as a prayer.
You said you'd only stay a moment, but moments tend to lie, because the second you sat across from me, time forgot to pass us by. The city outside kept snowing, cold wind pushing down the street, but here the silence felt like music, and your heartbeat sounded sweet.
I wasn't planning to be here, wasn't looking for a place to hide, but the night felt heavy on my shoulders, like a story kept inside. You asked if I was lonely, I laughed and said, aren't we all? But the way your eyes stayed on me made the winter feel small.
I told you I'd been drifting, chasing days that slipped through my hands.
Then you said life is quieter when you stop making so many plans. There was something in the dim light, something gentle in your tone, as if every word you spoke was telling me I didn't have to walk alone.
And the clock kept quietly breathing,
soft ticks fading into blue.
Two strangers sitting in the soft glow,
learning truths they never knew.
The world outside was frozen,
but inside the air was warm,
like love had snuck in early, taking on a softer form. You smiled like you knew the ending,
I frowned like I feared the start.
Yet somehow in that quiet moment
I felt you reaching for my heart. And though neither of us said it, neither dared to call it fate, every second tasted different, like the night was shifting weight. Your eyes
up tremble.
Your voice was steady still,
You said you spent too many winters.
learning how to bend your will.
I told you I knew that feeling.
The way the world turns cold and strange, the way people promise nothing, yet expect you not to change.
You laughed a soft surrender.
Like something inside broke free, and I realized in that moment how much you meant to me. Strangers or not,
The distance
faded like smoke upon the air,
and suddenly
your presence felt like something I could bear. You said you liked the quiet,
said you liked the way I spoke.
and I felt the years I carried lifting like a gentle joke.
I didn't know how heavy I'd been until you made the weight feel light.
Didn't know how lost I'd gotten wandering through the night,
And though the snow kept falling,
filling up the streets with white.
I felt a warmth inside me blooming like a tiny spark of light.
I wondered if you felt it too,
Wondered what you tried to hide.
wondered if you'd walk beside me when the morning touched the sky. So we stayed there breathing softly,
Letting silence speak aloud.
two broken pieces fitting gently, drifting far above the crowd.
Every word became a promise.
Every glance a fragile vow. We didn't need to name it, we could let the night allow. Maybe love begins in whispers, maybe healing starts with tea. Maybe all we really need is someone who can truly see.
When the lights dimmed even lower,
And the cafe neared its close, you reached across the table, took my hand and never let it go. And though morning would divide us, though the world might pull apart, I held the warmth you gave me like a lantern near my heart.
maybe this was just a moment,
Maybe it was something more,
but I'll remember how you looked at me before you walked out the door.
for on this side of midnight,
In a quiet cafe's glow,
two wanderers found comfort in a place they didn't know. And even if tomorrow sends us drifting like the snow, I'll keep this little moment where our lonely hearts said hello. Snow drifted down the street as I made my way inside. Boots tapping in a rhythm I could barely try to hide. The cafe smelled of cinnamon, of espresso warm and sweet, and jazz chords from the corner gave the night its gentle beat.
you sat beside the window where the winter glow was soft. Your scarf slipped from your shoulder like a quiet snowy cloth. When you looked up with a smile, something bright began to grow, and the whole room felt like vinyl spinning slow in amber glow.
Your voice, low and husky, called my name across the air. And in that tiny moment, I forgot the cold out there. You shook the snow off lightly with that warm, familiar grin, And the jazz behind your footsteps let the sweetness settle in. I'd been tracing fog on windows just to pass the drifting time, but the second you stepped closer, everything felt more like rhyme.
Your deep voice rolled like velvet, rich and balanced, smooth and low, blending with the upright bass and steady winter flow. I told you that the snowfall made the night feel soft and new, and you laughed as if agreeing with the glow that carried through. The cafe lights were flickering in a cozy vintage way, like old vinyl crackling softly on a cold December day. Our voices found a rhythm in a warm mid-tempo sway. Not too fast and not too quiet, just the pace for hearts to stay. Snow kept painting little halos on the window pane outside, and the world felt slightly brighter with you sitting at my side. I told you I like moments when the world felt half asleep, when the jazz chords wrapped the silence in a warmth they meant to keep. You giggled at my wording, saying I talked in retro lines, but your smile said you liked them the way stardust gently shines.
Your fingers tapped the tabletop in soft syncopated time, and the swing in your small gestures made the night feel almost prime. I didn't need loud laughter, didn't need the world to shout, just this quiet, steady rhythm where our feelings rounded out.
I said the night felt perfect with the vinyl mood around, with the saxophone behind us painting love into its sound.
Your warmth across the table made the snowfall seem divine, like winter saved its gentleness for moments such as mine.
The tempo wasn't rushing, but it had a subtle lift, like the universe was giving us a small and precious gift. With each word that you whispered in your deep and steady tone, I felt the world grow softer in a way I'd never known.
So we stepped out from the cafe as the snow began to glow, letting jazz lace winter breezes guide our footsteps through the snow. The street lamps hummed their brightness in a slow but lively beat, and we matched it with our breathing as we strolled along the street.
Maybe love begins in glances shared in soft and vintage light,
or in slow swings barely dancing through a gentle winter night. Like a note in perfect tune, and the night became a record spinning softly neath the moon.
Snowflakes shimmered on your lashes as you whispered stay a while, and the moment grew more golden in your tender retro smile. If winter keeps on glowing with a rhythm warm and true, I'd walk 1,000 snowy nights just to share this swing with you. I slipped into the cafe, slowly brushing snowflakes off my hair, and the mellow jazz was floating like soft perfume in the air. The lights were warm and golden, glowing gently on the floor, and I spotted you beneath them like a scene I'd seen before.
You waved at me with rosy cheeks, your smile a quiet spark, and the winter chill that followed me dissolved into the dark. My boots made steady rhythms as I walked across the room, and the faint swing in the background felt like flowers in bloom.
Your voice came husky, gentle, saying cold out there tonight, and just that simple greeting filled the cafe up with light.
like someone built of warmth and winter melted into bone.
The music wasn't fast tonight, just a comfortable sway.
And something in its rhythm matched the beat of what I'd say.
I've been sipping on my cocoa,
Watching frost creep on the glass,
but the moment you sat near me,
all the heaviness would pass.
the snowfall outside thick and dusting footsteps in the street. And somehow it felt magical
With your breath so close to me.
The cafe hummed around us,
With a soft and cozy beat,
not too quick and not too lazy.
just enough to lift our feet.
Our voices found a rhythm like the snowfall in the night, steady, warm and glowing in the quiet amber light.
Every tiny laughter made the moment softly grow, as if winter whispered gently.
Here's a warmth you need to know.
I told you I liked evenings when the world felt calm and slow, when the snow painted the sidewalks with a quiet silver glow. You leaned your elbow on the table, listening with that smile, and something bright and easy settled on heart a while.
Your fingers tap the wooden top in little swing time taps,
And the beat inside my chest aligned with all your gentle laughs.
it wasn't loud excitement, not a rush or racing thrill, just the kind of simple happiness that lingers soft and still.
I said I love the season when it softened all the noise,
When a winter night could brighten with such ordinary joys.
your deep voice blended softly with the jazz behind the glass, and suddenly the worries of my day began to pass.
I felt my breathing lighten,
When you leaned a little near, and the warmth between our shoulders shaped a quiet atmosphere.
the cafe lights grew hazy as the music found its flow.
And the night outside kept shining as the gentle snow would glow.
So we walked out from the cafe as the snowfall kissed our coats.
Letting mid-tempo rhythms guide our softly rising notes.
The street lamps flickered lightly, casting halos in the air.
And the winter breeze felt sweeter with your laughter standing there.
Maybe love begins in moments,
Not too quiet, not too loud,
just the place between two heartbeats.
where the world feels safe and proud. We paused beneath the awning where the snow kept drifting down, and your hand brushed mine so gently that my heartbeat nearly drowned. Not in noise, but in a warmth that said stay close, don't let go. And the whole world slowed around us in the hush of falling snow.
If nights like this could linger,
I'd chase every winter star
for the soft rhythm in the snowfall.
Let my footsteps where you are.
The night was folding quietly around the dim-lit bar. Soft amber lights trembling like old memories caught in a jar. I walked in just to warm my hands from the winter breeze outside, not expecting anything more than a lonely place to hide.
But there you were, leaning over your glass, tracing circles in slow time, your silhouette caught by the vintage glow like a half-forgotten rhyme.
Your dress shimmered like old film static,
Your eyes like midnight wine, and when you lifted your head to meet my gaze, the whole room seemed to align.
I said hello without planning to,
You answered with the softest grin,
and suddenly the night grew softer,
as if inviting me in. The band in the corner played gently, saxophone whispering low,
and I felt the weight of winter melt into the candle's golden glow.
You look like someone tired, someone carrying too much light, someone who had walked through a snowstorm searching for a place tonight.
Your coat drip melted snowflakes, your voice dragged a little slow, yet something in your presence felt like a warmth I used to know.
You sat across from me carefully, like you didn't want to break the air, as if touching this moment too quickly would scatter it everywhere.
I wasn't expecting company, wasn't planning to let down any walls, but the way you leaned in slightly softened the echo of my fall.
So I told you my name in a whisper, gave you a story or two,
And somehow those tiny confessions made the world feel strangely new.
The bar kept humming its murmur, glasses clinking in lazy time, but inside our little corner it felt like the universe paused its climb, and the moon spilled through the window, painting silver on the floor. Time drifted like slow smoke curling beneath the door.
Two strangers sharing stories, learning things they didn't plan, finding pieces of themselves in the silence of another's hands.
Every word was like a footstep marking places we had been. Every glance a quiet reminder we were human once again.
No music rose to drown us, no laughter cut our space.
Only jazz breathed gently, filling all the empty place.
You asked me why I wandered,
Why I walked into the night,
I told you I've been losing season.
chasing shadows out of sight.
I said I'd left too many things behind,
Let too many moments slip,
said I traded warmth for distance.
let too many feelings dip,
You nodded like you understood,
like you'd held the same cold weight, like you'd waited in the doorway of your life for something small and great.
I wasn't used to being seen,
Wasn't used to being heard,
yet you listened with such honesty.
I ran out of rehearsed words,
And in the pause that lingered,
something quiet in me stirred, some old forgotten comfort that had long felt like a blur, half remembered in somewhere in my chest, and suddenly I wondered if tonight was some strange kind of rest. You said my voice felt calming, said it reminded you of rain.
And I felt the loneliness inside me closing up like healing pain.
I told you I've been tired too, worn down from wandering years.
Told you I'd filled my pockets with pieces of laughter and tears.
There was something about your softness, something slow in how you spoke, something honest in your stillness that felt nothing like a joke.
I looked at you and wondered how a stranger's presence could undo
So many heavy winters that had buried me from view.
And in that gentle moment, under lights that flicker slow,
I felt something deep and fragile waking quietly below.
so we stayed there in the glow,
letting seconds fall like snow,
soft and silent,
warm and slow, drifting nowhere, nowhere to go.
You reached out like a question,
I answered with my breath,
and in that trembling closeness,
and bloom beneath the depth
maybe life is made of evening,
that we barely hope to
my
find.
moments stitched with wisps of
Slowly moaning, worn out years. So when the bar announced its closing and the night prepared to end,
You asked if I'd keep walking with a voice too soft to bend.
I nodded without speaking, and we stepped into the cold, to that